That the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town. Because you don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
What can we do to take off some of that pain that New Yorkers are feeling that I hear about literally every day? But maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations.
Boy, that's precious. That is not aged well. Yeah. Get out, now come back. We need that. Dude, how feminine is that? How much of a woman's prerogative is that when they govern you, when they say, get out of the house, I don't want you living here anymore. Please come back and pay the bills. Get out of the house, come back and pay the bills. I saw a lot of my parents in that little miniature thing there.
It reminds me of this viral video that went around where this woman was just so happy about her divorce. And she was like, oh, I'm divorced. And he's like dancing and you're just going crazy. And somebody's saying, yeah, you know, you got to pay your child support. And she's like,
yeah. Some of them out here, when some of the lopsided celebrity relationships, they have to pay palimony and alimony to their male spouses. It's very common now.
Community state, right?
It can happen in any state, but out here with lopsided financial relationships of celebrityhood, it's happening more and more, and they're quite embittered about it.
They should be thrilled. It is proving the equality firsthand. Look, women are paying their fair share. Every other state, you know, people can say, oh, no, not in California. They're holding up their end.
They're holding up their end down here. Yeah. Wow. Keith Urban about to get paid off by an Australian woman.
I don't even know, because he made plenty of cash too. So I think when
not as much as she did, she was paying him. This is in their prenup. She was paying him something like $50,000 a month to stay sober.
Wow.
No, dude, this is in their agreement. This is like a separate thing that they had in their marriage.
Well, there are other ones that I wonder about. I mean, like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. When you have two A-listers who have
it's a battle
so much money, I don't even know who has more between the two of them. Because
no, that's just who is willing to extend the war between the 75 attorneys on one side and the 75 on the other. Because it's just a battle to the death at that point.
Well, you know what I feel like is it's been going on now for years.
Yeah.
Eventually all the kids are going to be adults, and they'll be like,
they already are adults.
Okay, so that's the key. It's like we're going to fight till those damn kids aren't part of the equation. Then we can, walk away or limp away the best.
Well, I think Keith Urban's kids are almost adults. Like one's an adult, the other one's like 17 or something. But yeah, the Angelina Jolie ones with Brad Pitt, although the bulk of them were bought on the open market. Will eventually
many markets, different
multiple markets. Yeah, the African market, the fruit market, the trans market. I mean, they've picked them up all over markets.
It almost mirrored the slavery influx from the 1800s.
Absolutely. Ask Mia Farrow. She's the one who opened the door to this crazy crap. She had like a dozen of these kids. Many of them, not many, but some self-deleted. Others ran away. Some of them married her boyfriend.
Well,
anything to get away from Mia. Soon he said, described it as being this hell on earth living with her. How she would beat them, and the one that Woody Allen married said one time she broke her leg playing tennis in school, and her mother said, "I'm busy. Take a cab to the hospital."
I guess Mia was nicer to Ronan then, because
Ronan kind of like carved out his own little Frank Sinatra niche. He did it his way. I mean, if that's the kid of Woody Allen, then so am I. I mean, if he doesn't look like Frank Sinatra, nobody does.
Fair enough. And he's also did it the Weinstein way too. Because if I recall, Ronan Farrow was the one behind Me Too,
Absolutely.
all of that.
Yep. And he's disappeared from the face of the earth. He did his deep state job and he disappeared. Speaking of deep state jobs, I mean, what do you think Sean Penn was doing delivering a package to Zelensky in Kiev during the night of the Oscars? Like, is Zelensky just cut off from cocaine from his sources, and that the former El Chapo friend Sean Penn had to fly in on a private jet to meet up with Zelensky in Kiev? Give me a break.
Yeah, well,
give me a break. El Chapo's former running buddy and Chavez's buddy and Raul Castro's buddy and Fidel Castro's buddy. This guy hasn't met a dictator he doesn't like. And it's not possible that an actor, just a random actor, could just randomly know all of these dictators. And yet the stupid left, not all of them, because I've talked privately to many of them who agree with my take on Sean Penn, know what he's doing. The fact that he is for years. Now, I mean, you could justify Oliver Stone making documentaries, about these people for the sake of making documentaries. But what is Sean Penn's goal? What is his goal of knowing and being best friends with El Chapo and Hugo Chavez and Raul Castro and Fidel Castro and now Zelensky? They're not even all politically aligned.
It kind of reminds me of McCarthy era.
Yeah.
Because there were some insiders just like Sean Penn and his relationships sort of mirrored.
Yep.
I mean, he's I don't know. He's a well-traveled dirtbag. Is that fair?
Well, I think it's more than that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not just a well-traveled dirtbag. When you miss winning an Oscar to go all of a sudden, like, what are you doing? Are you settling the war? Are you an ambassador? Like, what is your actual role here, bro? You can't attend the Oscars to get your Oscar because you're meeting with Zelensky? Like, for what purpose?
Yeah.
What is the purpose? Nobody ever explains it nor delves into it. You just go, oh yeah, Sean Penn. And what? And what does that mean?
No, there's a certain amount of expectation with him that he's going to say and do stupid, weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it's stupid and weird, but just speaking of Hollywood, the passing of Chuck Norris should be acknowledged because he lived life the right way. He died at 86 years of age.
I have
right?
A little bit for him.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't know.
This is a nice little
far out
compilation because the guy was so cool that he was a meme.
Don't look now. Chuck Norris is right behind you. I heard superheroes read Chuck Norris comics. I heard at night the boogeyman checks into the bed for Chuck. I heard Chuck Norris's reflection won't even look him in the eye. I heard when cops need cops, they call Chuck Norris. I heard when Chuck gets in the water, sharks get out of the ocean. I heard when Chuck Norris is hiking, grizzlies look out for him. I heard Chuck Norris rides the water without the cycle. I heard Chuck Norris wears a hat to protect the sun. I heard medicine takes Chuck Norris to feel better. I heard what actually killed the dinosaurs was Chuck Norris. I heard cats say they have Chuck-like reflexes. I think he's still got it. I'll bet you $1 he catches a salt shaker. You're on.
Hey, Chuck. Oh, man. Damn.
You owe me $1. Don't look now. Chuck Norris is right.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Bravo, Chuck Norris.
That is a perfect meme. There's jokes going around, and I do appreciate, and I think he would too, when they were saying Chuck Norris really died 20 years ago. It took death 20 years to work up the nerve to tell him.
Well, I mean, I'll have more on Chuck Norris on Wednesday on What's Up with Lord Buckley, but we must acknowledge his movie with Bruce Lee, The Way of the Dragon, 1972, which I think opened up martial arts to America in terms of, and then Bruce Lee came in and did the rest of it. But also the two Missing in Action films, 84 and 85, Missing in Action 1 and 2. And of course, what most people, Walker, Texas Ranger, probably know him from TV in 19.
Well, he's not known for his stellar acting chops, but
no,
he's
not at all. But he was
guy.
great in Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a legitimate show.
I totally agree. And when I was a pre-teenager, I briefly took his martial arts
Wow.
For like a year or two, enough to get to like yellow belt and realize I couldn't afford it. But anyway, no, Chuck Norris was the guy. And unlike other people, he actually did fight. Like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is one of the most talented martial artists probably ever, but his actual combat experience is something that is debated. I'm not going to say, there's some people who come out and say, "Oh, hell no, blah 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 blah." He did what, but Chuck Norris actually had fights. He had and it was like hundreds of fights. He was a world-class fighter. Yeah, and in fairness, if the fight really laid out, he probably would have sent Bruce Lee to the hospital just because of the size differential. I mean, when you get to the point where if you have two people of equal talent, size really
matters. Size matters
a lot.
To quote a phrase.
But well, I can already see the rumors going around here because this guy posted a picture. So how long? Set your marker. How long before the rumors start? Take a look now.
He was killed by the Jews?
Right. Well, I'm telling you, I'm waiting for Candy and crew.
I see.
Because Netanyahu posted the picture of himself with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is a very religious man.
It's hard to think like that. I don't. My mind doesn't think quick enough.
Well, trust me, I've seen a particular pattern. So, when I saw that image, I was like, oh God, that's going to be interesting. But anyway, great guy.
Yeah, he lived life the right way, and there were guys like him, like Gary Sinise I talked about on Wednesday, and a bunch of other guys that we cover on the show on Wednesday. So I mean, I'll go into a deeper dive on Chuck Norris Wednesday.
Well, while we're on Hollywood, I do want to acknowledge another guy. You may not have heard of the guy, but he also passed away. Not as big of a name. Chuck Norris is obviously a legend. But Eric Overmyer passed away.
I do not know Eric Overmyer.
All right, well, Eric Overmyer was a co-creator of Bosch.
I did see that in the news. Yeah,
but he also created The Wire and Treme and Homicide, Life on the Streets. He worked with David Simon quite a bit. Really, really important producer for a lot of people in the crime genre and things like that. And he was 74, and he will also be missed. And I did want to acknowledge him because I'm a fan of Bosch and both the books and the movie. So sadly he also passed away. Not as well known, but still important. So now somebody else who, well, their memory isn't going very well for them.
Oh, what do you got now? Another dead person?
I believe they're dead. Somebody from your neck of the woods, not only dead, but removed overnight. Cesar Chavez.
Oh, that's so sad. So crazy about Chavez, man. I mean, you know what's going to, I'll say a couple of things about Chavez before we move on, but I just want to point out that next year, and I'm predicting this right now, next year, we're going to go through the same thing with another guy, because in 2027, there's going to be the full release of documents about another cat who this guy was called the Latino Martin Luther King. We're going to have the real Martin Luther King in 2027. And I've already downloaded a bunch of documents about his sexual proclivities from wiretaps and from information that was signed by RFK back in the time when he was Attorney General. But those are due to be released next year, Eric. So keep that in mind.
By the way, I could totally see that happening, though.
Yep.
Because
he's dead. He's dead.
Not only is he dead, but what he promoted.
Yeah.
The idea of judging people by their character versus their skin color is anathema to the left. They absolutely want the skin color, and they want to wipe his memory off the planet because he doesn't fit the Black Lives Matter message.
Well, they
He's a
weren't so
problem
happy with
their
Cesar Chavez either, to be honest with you, because he was so virulently anti-illegal immigration. He literally stood and went toe-to-toe, punching illegal aliens in the face at the Mexican border at protest that the United Farm Workers came down to the border to prevent illegal aliens from coming in. So he, they may not be so sad to see him go either. Now, keep in mind, he did things to 12 and 13-year-olds that they're trying not to discuss. They're trying to keep the focus on his partner, Muerta, the co-founder of the United Farm Workers. She came out and said that she had been raped at least 2 times. And now the children, apparently, from that incident are being proven to be Cesar Chavez's offspring for the first time. This thing is insane. They're covering up the statues all over the West Coast. They don't know what to do with the names of hundreds of schools, streets, parks, everything in their cult of personality that they tried to do with George Floyd is now being undermined as quickly as possible here because of the incredible humiliation and the fact that his birthday, which is a national holiday, quote unquote, for us out here, is coming up at the end of the month on a Friday. So the United Teachers Federation out here had to come out and say, we can't change it because the parents won't have babysitters and some other cockamamie bullshit. Dude, they are spinning their wheels out here. This is one of the greatest things I've ever experienced in terms of taking down the left. Okay, and there's so much meat on this bone. I just want to do a little segment on it because anonymous people are now covering, anonymous meaning they don't know who did it, are now covering up the statues with drapes and duct tape all around the state of California. They're now having city council meetings to come up with names for the schools, to come up with names for the parks, to come up with names for the streets. They're scrambling so hard, and it's so beautiful to watch. But let me get into a little bit about who the fuck this piece of shit was, because that's more important to me, because a lot of people knew this and shut their traps for decades, including his coworker, sidekick, who said she was assaulted by him on multiple occasions, the co-founder of the United Farm Workers. She shut her trap because of the cause. The cause was bigger than the women's movement. It was bigger than Me Too. It was bigger than her. It was bigger than everything, because the cause was not the United Farm Workers. The cause was communism and Marxism. That was the cause. Anything you hear is just verbal twisting of the words. The United Farm Workers is not the freaking cause. The cause is communism. And that's why she would have taken this to the grave at the age of 98 if the younger people had not come out, the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds that he sexually abused. And there's plenty of photos,
victims, I hate to
the
say.
real victims of this, right, who were 12 and 13, repeatedly sexually abused. You could make the argument that Huerta was his girlfriend or whatever you want to say. You could really make that argument. If
she kept sticking around, there's a certain point where you've got to accept some degree of responsibility.
Exactly. She was an adult.
13-year-old, no, they don't.
Right. She was an adult. She stuck it out. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. Even when he was alive. He's been dead for 30 years, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, let me just get into just a little tip of the iceberg, because there may be more to this than people really know. There was a cat named Chuck Dietrich. Now, Chuck Dietrich founded a group called Synanon. Synanon became a cult, and they spun out of Venice, California as an anti-heroin recovery program, a spin-off of Narcotics Anonymous. And they were based in Venice, California here, and they brought a lot of celebrities in, a lot of heroin addicts and things of that nature. They began to move to upstate California. And when they moved to upstate California, they fled Venice because they were becoming a cult here in California. And the cult leader was this cat, Chuck Dietrich. And Chuck Dietrich famously put rattlesnakes in his enemies' mailboxes. He had a thing called The Game, where he would have these psychological games played on people. He was the cult leader of Synanon. They were up by Fresno, California. And it turns out, which I didn't know about till a number of years ago, that here's a picture of Chuck Dietrich. Yeah, he was an alcoholic, complete bag of human shit, right? This guy, I mean, comes completely into the cult world. Chuck Dietrich, yeah, that he starts in and on. And it becomes this complete freaking cult with him as the cult leader. Okay. When Cesar Chavez was losing control of the United Farm Workers through his own methods of running the United Farm Workers as their leader, he reached out to Chuck Dietrich to come and have these meetings with him to teach him how to run a cult of personality. Nobody knows this. Dietrich taught him how to play the game. The game were these psychological games where you had these sessions, these communist Maoist sessions with people in the leadership of the freaking United Farm Workers. That's the real dirty story behind Cesar Chavez, that he was a cult leader and had to reach out to another cult leader to teach him the tricks of maintaining his freaking cult, Eric, which was the leadership of the United Farm Workers in California. RFK Sr. got sucked into this thing. MLK got sucked into this. I don't mean the cult. I mean into the deception that this guy was a regular leader with gravitas. This guy was a demented cult leader, Cesar Chavez, who, like them all, like the Reverend Jim Jones, will always resort to sexual proclivities, will always use power games and sexual domination of his members. That's what the story is of Cesar Chavez. That's what I wanted to talk about today, now that the whistle has finally been blown on this piece of shit. That he was a cult leader of a Maoist, communist, Marxist labor cult based originally on grape pickers, but it turned into a sex cult and a cult of personality built around Cesar Chavez.
Well, it's kind of perfect that you say that, because modern cults all stem out of North Korea.
Yeah.
And then pretty much disseminated from there. Lifton studied North Korea.
Right.
And,
No, but I mean, the fact that he hooked up with Chuck Dietrich to teach him how to run a cult, I think says it all. At that point, they were literally neighbors up there in that Northern California region where he was based, Cesar Chavez. So I just wanted to let people know this was not a one-off of him just having some dalliances with underage girls. It was far more to this. And I think you're going to hear that this was, unless they completely squash the news, but you may be hearing more about this as time goes on. I'm just saying, this is a guy, they knew about this. This is not unknown on the left. This is once again the same exact thing as Planned Parenthood, where she was the most racist eugenicist leader of the left, planning to eliminate Black people through eugenics, and they built a cult of personality around her. It's the same exact story repeatedly. And what I'm predicting is that next year, when these documents come out on Martin Luther King, Katie barred the door because he's finished. Martin Luther King is done, bro. When these documents come out next year, he is done. And a judge sealed those documents, and he was a private citizen. And I said it at the time, the judge had no right to seal those audio tapes that were the wiretaps of him signed by the Attorney General of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy, and the audio wiretaps, which were being listened to by LBJ and everyone else in the inner circle, just like at cocktail parties, going, oh boy, this is great stuff here, great stuff. That's what's going to be coming out next year. And he is toast.
What do you want to bet that they'll re-release, was it Abernathy's book with the full unabridged version?
Yeah, I recommend if you can find the first edition of Ralph Abernathy's memoir, a lot of that is in there.
It's on our locals.
Yeah. Oh, we have it, the PDF, right?
That's right. I put it up.
Oh, it's a good way to join the thing if you want to read the PDF, because they took it out in the second edition, which is typical of the left. Abernathy was counseling him on his sexual proclivities with white women and prostitutes and everything else, and the Nobel Prize, chasing women naked through the hotels up there in Norway. It was all in Abernathy's first draft, and the second draft, the second edition, it is eliminated. So somehow I got a hold of the PDF, And there's a million other great PDFs on locals. If you cheap bastards want to join, you could actually read and enjoy them. Unstructured.locals.com.
But definitely check it out. But not only that, we do have an after party here with this, and you can post your own articles, share with the community, and things like that. Now, let's continue. Interesting development with Cuba since Tuesday.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
And well, it appears they're getting a little bit of secret support here.
Yeah.
I guess Russian ships have been slowly getting some fuel inside of Cuba by spoofing the radios, like they're turning off the signals and things like that. And
well, these were Hong Kong flagged. So just to be specific, it wasn't like they were running the Russian flag into there. These were Hong Kong flagged tankers, but there were some Russian ones too trying to get in there. Eric, you're right.
Yes, and they're playing some games now.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting if they get captured.
Well, I believe what's appropriate at this time is a naval embargo of Cuba for this particular purpose, to stop the Russians or anybody else from supplying them with oil.
Yeah,
I mean, either you do it or you don't. I mean, you know, it's the Russians or others are going to try to get in there to save this model of communist regime in Havana. You know, for political purposes and propaganda purposes, you can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we're busy, but I mean, you may have a couple of extra ships that you could throw around the island of Cuba, Eric.
Maybe, but I mean, you could always just turn a couple satellites toward them.
Yeah.
You don't even necessarily have to sit there and do a full-blown blockade. You can have satellites turn that way and go, well, would you look at that? Okay, that ship.
Well, how do you stop it, though, without a blockade?
You just fly onto it. I mean, you know, the same way they've captured the other vessels, they drop on with a couple of
I see what you're saying.
and then
Right.
boom.
I
You know,
would like to avoid a confrontation with them by having my idea for the blockade is to avoid to just fend them off and just say, I really don't want to deal with landing on your vessels and doing what we do with Venezuela.
Right, but it's even more fun because then you can just grab that ship full of oil and bring it on in. Hey,
I guess. Okay.
You don't want to shoot it because you don't want to, you know, environmental problems from dumping the oil in the ocean. So,
well, speaking of oil, I have a prediction about Kharg Island that I'd like to get off my chest. I believe that the 2,000 Marines that are en route to the Iran conflict will be used to physically seize and hold Kharg Island. That's my prediction today based on my research. This is something he doesn't want to destroy. He doesn't want to ruin Kharg Island with their oil refineries and everything else. And I believe the terrifying boots on the ground thing that apparently has spooked all of your generation, these guys will be used in a seizure and holding in a very dramatic military maneuver, which will be very courageous. These Marines, I believe, are being sent there to seize Kharg Island.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that thought. I believe.
Okay, well, I haven't read it.
I think that
I haven't read it.
Dan of the Huddle said 100%. Sean saying 99%.
Okay, I haven't seen those shows, so I just thought it made sense to me too.
Yeah, it's a matter, and sooner rather than later, because there is a TikTok. He wants to bring him to the negotiating table. So if he has that, then they've got nothing at that point, and then he can say, "Look, you don't have shit." So good time to negotiate.
Can you tip your hat to the Czech Navy, the landlocked Czech Navy that has sent their one destroyer to the Middle East as the only EU nation to help us? I mean, tip your hat to the Czech Republic today,
I'm
folks.
amazed that they have a ship.
They have a ship and they're landlocked. And not only do they have a one-ship destroyer navy, they are sending it into harm's way to help the United States of America. Tip of the hat to the Czech Republic, my friends, the only EU country to put their military in harm's way. Wow. I love the Czech Republic, and they got smoking hot chicks.
Oh, there you go. And
it's a twofer.
And then they're going to maybe be joined by the Japanese.
I
The prime minister said that they're ready to throw support in there. What did you think of his Pearl Harbor comment?
Dude, it's like all of a sudden, every once in a while, he becomes Gilbert Gottfried. And, you can only look at the Apprentice episode with him and Gilbert to see a meeting of the comic urban New York minds at work, comically, him and Gilbert. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Dude, you can't count him out.
No, and he does it at the most unexpected times. I mean, the guy's like, "Why didn't you let us know that you were going to be in there?" And he's like, "You should know about surprise. Why didn't you call me about Pearl Harbor?"
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh
Absolutely
man,
brilliant.
And the whole room apparently, because on the huddle, the female, she was actually in the room at the time.
Is that true?
Yeah. She was one of the journalists. They switch out.
Oh, she had a seat. Yeah.
Apparently, she was there, and it was one of those. Some people I think are laughing. Other people are going, "Oh my God, horrors."
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, but now that we've given a shout out to Japan, given a shout out to the Czech Republic, dispatching their only ship there, you really have to wonder whether the Saudis are really the quote unquote Israel of the Middle East that we really talk about in terms of being the real conspiratorial Israel, and that they discuss Israel. But think about the Saudis. They have about 35 naval, full-scale naval vessels. They have 400 fixed-wing fighter aircraft that we've trained them to use, right? They have not lifted one finger to help us. Okay, they're the ones with the oil. They're the ones that had 15 attackers from their country on 9/11. They are the real Israel to all the Israel conspiratorial nuts. It's really the Saudis that you should be directing your focus on, who control the Bush administration, who have been using the West for all of their things, and now not even lifting a finger in this Iran conflict where both Israelis and Americans are dying, and they're just sitting by, not even using the fucking hardware, not even using their ships or planes.
There's a reason Saudi is rich, Mark.
No, I understand that, but nobody's calling these pieces of shit out on this, for not doing anything. They're right. It's right in their neighborhood. They supplied money for the Iran-Iraq war to eliminate Iran for 8 years back, as you well recall, during the Iran-Iraq 8-year war. Their arch nemesis is Iran. They've now moved all the chess pieces that people say AIPAC does. This is what they do. It's not Israel, you schmucks. Israel is dying for this cause. So are Americans. It's the Saudis you have a beef with. And you never complain about the Saudis because you're blinded by Jew hatred so darkly, like Tucker, that you can't see the forest for the trees. If there's any conspiracy, look at 9/11. Look at Prince Bandar. Look at the 9/11 report that you can't see outside of the skiff. Look at the first 28 pages that say they funded the attacks on 9/11. It doesn't say Israel funded the attacks on 9/11. It literally says the Saudi royal family. And yet it's Israel that does everything to you people. It's shocking. It really is shocking. And now, not to lift a finger militarily, and I don't want to get their hands dirty or lose any of their F-10 Warthogs that they paid to have shipped to them. If you recall, during the Las Vegas shooting, Eric, how they flew out of Las Vegas, I think it was Nellis Air Force Base, the next day in formation with the planes that they purchased back to Saudi Arabia, and how they owned the entire floor right above the shooter, quote unquote, in the hotel. I mean, if you really were conspiratorial nuts, as you act as if you are, take a look at the Saudis. There's more than enough meat on that bone, and stop being distracted by Israel. Israel is in the middle of this thing with us. It's just exasperating sometimes, Eric.
But Mark, they have the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
And the Riyadh Comedy Festival. That's right. On top of it.
And that's where
I mean, imagine if I told you that. Imagine if I told
money.
you that 15 of the 9/11 attackers were Israelis. Imagine if I told you that.
Well, people talk about that. Remember, they're dancing in the streets.
It's insane. It's absolutely. Well, the Israelis knew they were coming, so they escaped. Really? The Saudis called them and told them?
Oh no! Hold on. How many times have you heard that all Jews were gone from work that day?
Oh, again, it's such a desperate attempt that they even said that the mayor of New York was in on it and that he was a Jew. And you go, really? Bloomberg? And they go, Bloomberg? And they go, no, Giuliani.
I mean, but yeah, some of it is just.
It's so preposterous. There's so much meat on the Saudi bone. But I don't even care about that anymore. What I care about is the fact that we're dying and other people are dying and we're using American blood and treasure while these pieces of shit who live right next door are not even willing to help open the Strait of Hormuz with all that weaponry.
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, with some of the Jew hatred, Zionist hatred, or whatever, cloak it any way you want.
Yeah.
I keep mentioning that the new grifter on the scene, which is Carrie Prejean, and here's her spouting off about her.
What has she got going on?
Well, she became a Catholic last April, and that has automatically made her the most significant Catholic in the world who knows more than all the Catholics, who spent their life. And this is if you listen, you'll hear where the attack's going.
Aspect of Zionism. So as a Catholic, this is what I said on stage. I do not believe 1948 Israel is a biblical prophecy fulfillment. Most Christian Zionists in this country, like Ted Cruz and Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio and all these other Zionist thugs, supremacists.
What?
By the way, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, I believe for sure are both Catholic. I don't know. About
and there's Zionist thug supremacists. Did she call them Zionist thug supremacists? Yeah, oh my God. Oh, lady.
They want me as a Catholic to reject the Catholic Church's teaching of 2,000 years.
Whoa, Vatican I.
We do not
telephone call from Mel Gibson.
Prophecy
Mel Gibson telephone.
1948 Israel, atheist Israel that was established in 48. They want us to believe that and reject and deny our Catholic faith. And I refuse to do that.
Shut up.
And so I think it's a political ideology that.
Shut this chick up. Just shut her up. Get rid of this girl.
Anyway, so
who is this beauty queen?
She is out there right now, and it is starting to show some alignment. We are looking at 2028.
Yeah.
And notice that she put Marco Rubio in the list.
Yeah.
I think this story is a little bit under the radar here, but I heard about it from Halperin.
Yeah.
And now here's another version of it. JD Vance racked by bombshell admission as Iran war threatens 28-28 run. He is now behind the scenes apparently saying he's not sure.
I saw that
wants
this morning.
To run.
Wow.
He's got a fourth child coming this summer. And to be honest, we've talked about it before. What are the odds of a sitting vice president actually winning the election?
Very low.
He could.
Again, Eric said sitting vice president for you autistic people at home.
Yes.
Go on, Eric. Sorry.
Yes.
Go on.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Sitting vice president who runs for election. Let me qualify.
I'm sorry.
The boss doesn't die.
Right.
And they get elected. As George H.W. Bush.
Right.
Before him, it was about 100 and some odd years.
It's very rare.
Very rare. And I have a feeling he's going, well, you know what? Biden didn't run. But he came back and ran.
Yeah.
I could step away and then I could say, do you miss us yet? And then come back.
So did
and
Nixon.
Run.
So did Richard Nixon. He came back again.
Did as well. So the odds, I think, are actually better.
Well, he lost in 60, so making your point, Eric.
Well, exactly. But he managed to come back. So which was a great comeback, by the way, because he also lost the California gubernatorial election. So he couldn't even win the governorship.
Well, he went from, congressman to senator, to vice president and then presidential candidate, then president.
No, yeah. Oh, and gubernatorial candidate in between.
Yeah, but I'm saying that was a loss. Yeah.
So that
By the way, your friend Harry Enton put up some fascinating numbers on CNN this week.
I think I might have that.
Do you have that clip? Because
I might. Let me.
Just for the people who are Tucker supporters, thinking this is a huge movement with behind their hero Tucker, who went after Churchill again. I wanted to address after Eric's done, but I didn't want to address the Churchill thing.
Absolutely,
British friends.
Oh, speaking of the Churchill thing, Trump was just, I don't have the clip handy because I was listening and I didn't catch it. He was showing the bust of Winston Churchill and talking about, yeah, look at this. This is Winston Churchill. Don't know what's wrong with Starmer. He's no Churchill.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just going on about that.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what I think triggered Tucker about Churchill after that.
Well, he's already been triggered because he's had Darren Cooper on, everything else. Yeah. But here you go. It's the MAGA GOP view.
Oh, these numbers.
Sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you. And this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they
By the way, I've never seen 100% before. I mean, this is the first
I've
time
never
I've
seen
ever
it anything.
seen
I've
that.
never seen it either. I've never seen it either. And these people should check these numbers who are destroying their political futures because they're jumping off the cliff like freaking lemmings.
Right. And those who were saying, oh, that's the fact that these people are talking, it's like, okay, obviously it's a sample survey and it's saying for the X thousand people who called or whatever,
100 of anything
self-identified as MAGA, 100%. So
how many people are willing to self-identify as MAGA being called on the phone by CNN?
You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, there are some Republicans who disapprove of Donald John Trump, but they are not members of the Make America Great Again movement. The bottom line is this. If you are a member of MAGA, you approve of Donald Trump.
It's interesting, though, because there have been a couple prominent people who have sort of come out online, and they're very mad about this war with Iran because he promised no new wars. Is there any sign that people might be leaving MAGA relative to 2024?
Sorry, lady. Nice try.
Okay.
Nice try.
I've said it before, and, the theme of this segment is Tucker Carlson be darned. And when we look at the numbers, I mean, I've heard some people say, oh, you know what, when you look at those MAGA numbers, it doesn't account for those who might have left MAGA. But take a look here. Americans who identify as MAGA in November of 2024, it was 28% of Americans. Now it's basically the same. If anything, it's slightly higher at 30%. The bottom line is this. The MAGA base within the GOP is not shrinking.
It's growing.
It's the same size. If anything,
bigger.
it is slightly larger than it was back in 2024 when, of course, Donald Trump won a second term. So that 100% that Donald Trump has approval among MAGA GOP, that is not an artifact of MAGA shrinking. It's just an indication of how strong Donald Trump's grip is.
Dude,
on
I had no idea.
And so I guess it begs the question of what's happening with inside the GOP and if there are any splits
This
there.
woman's just grasping at straws, Eric, at this point.
Well, that's helpful, though, because every time she challenges, he's got an answer. So she's, teeing it up. I mean, these are softballs. So
I know. Yeah.
They're going to want to retain that, right? So they can retain their seats.
Yes. And what we're talking about, we mentioned Iran in the intro of this segment, GOP on U.S. military action in Iran. Look at this. In MAGA, it's 90% approval.
5%. Look at that 5%.
approval,
Eric.
just 5% disapproval. If you disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing, the U.S. military action in Iran, and you're a member of the GOP, look at this. It's your non-MAGA. You're non-MAGA. It's 36% there, 54% approved. But the majority of Republicans approve of the job that the U.S. military action is in Iran, and the majority of MAGA, which is the majority of the GOP, very much approve, 90%. Very little split in Donald Trump's base. Those who disapprove in the GOP, simply put, they hate MAGA.
No, this is one poll. I'm sure that there are other polls that go other ways, but I think
this is
overall,
a snapshot in time right now. So I mean, what are you going to do? It's hard to do an in-depth poll. It's a snapshot in time quickly. You can only do these snapshots quickly.
No, I absolutely agree.
I just wanted to, speaking of Tucker, what you mentioned there, and he mentioned there, his recent attacks or embracement of Hitler and the Third Reich and his attacks on Churchill, I believe I have an understanding of where this is going, but I wanted to address the Churchill thing straight up for my British friends. And I know we have people who watch this show from England. We have a lot of UK people, and obviously we don't know your history as well as you do. That's for sure. But we know enough, I believe, where Tucker said that Churchill imprisoned the head of the opposition party for the extent of the war. Right. And that is a bold-faced freaking lie. And we have to at least call out Tucker when he's completely lying. The head of the Labor Party was Clement Attlee, who was a war hero in World War I. He was a pilot, if I remember correctly. He was the head of the opposition party, and he endorsed Churchill as soon as the war started. There was a guy named Owen Mosley. Now, Owen Mosley is who Tucker is referring to. He was not.
I have this clip.
Okay, go ahead.
Play Tucker saying that.
Oh, go ahead.
Winston Churchill, who I know are required to deify, presided over the imprisonment of his opposition party during the entire length of the war, and their families and their wives. They were rotting in prison away from their little kids, in some cases their infants. And their crime was being the opposition party and being disloyal and unpatriotic. They weren't. The opposition party was led by a First World War hero who fought not just as, a pilot in the sky, but and in the trenches, like one of the great war heroes, former member of parliament the country ever produced. And he and his wife and his compatriots and their wives were interned without charges by Winston Churchill for the duration of the war. And that happened in Britain, which is like much more humane than a lot of places. FDR.
So he's extrapolating two people, merging them into one. And
he's conflating two people. Very interesting.
Kissin did a giant.
Right, because Clement Attlee was the Labor Party leader in World War I vet that he is conflating. Now, Owen Mosley, Walter Mosley's the writer.
Oswald Mosley.
Walter Mosley is actually a black crime writer. But Owen Mosley was an avowed Nazi. Was it
Oswald Mosley?
Owen Mosley.
Oswald, according to this.
No, okay. I know him as Owen Mosley. I could be wrong, but I thought it was Owen Mosley. But anyway, Mosley, whatever he was called, Owen Mosley or Oswald Mosley, created in 1932 the British Union of Fascists. And his party was never the opposition. They never had a single member elected to parliament. And in 1932, he goes to Berlin to marry his second wife. And that wedding is in the house of an obscure Nazi official named Joseph Goebbels. And it only had one guest. And the guest was Adolf Hitler, who gave him as a gift a silver frame photo of himself as a wedding gift. What's that?
He looks nice. What were they saying? Waving, right?
Yeah. So he comes back to England after his wedding, and he is obviously a Nazi. And he has created a Nazi party in 1932. And if you're British and if you could add something to this, please weigh in the comment section or in the chat, because Mosley comes back and he is jailed. And Churchill says, yes, I am putting you in jail.
It's the lightning party.
Yeah, it's the lightning rod party. Anyway, the idea that he was the head of the opposition party is laughable because they never had one member in parliament. And if the opposition party was not the Labour Party and was indeed something called the British Union of Fascists, I guess that would be the opposition party.
Well, he was opposition to the whole damn country.
Right. If that's what Tucker is calling the Labour Party these days, wow, you got to watch this guy like a hawk, Eric.
Yeah. Constantine Kissin literally wrote a long tweet about here's just the first paragraph. Credit where it's due. Tucker is amazing at confidently delivering absolute lies.
Yeah. Well, so is Goebbels. I mean, is he the modern day Joseph Goebbels? Now, I say this for a reason, because I believe where they're going with this is that they made up their minds that the United States is, and there's some argument, I've had the argument in my own head, that there may not be a way for the American democracy to overcome Marxism in this country without fascism. Now, you can have that argument, and I'm not talking about the Third Reich. There are rational people who, and I have had that discussion with friends, and I mean theoretical discussions with friends, where it may take a brutal fascist regime to overcome communism in this country, that it's so buried, it's so has undermined, so entrenched, Eric, right, that you may need a period of fascistic type rule to overcome the communists that have already entrenched. And I believe that Tucker believes this. And more importantly, I believe that that is where he's going politically. And that is why he's softening the ground about Hitler and the Third Reich to prepare us for his attempt and his cronies to put in a fascist style of government into the United States. Now, Lindbergh in 32, 33 felt the same way. This is not completely brand new to American politics. America First was the group that Lindbergh was in charge of back in the day, and he was a far bigger celebrity than Tucker Carlson. I mean, he was like the guy who walked on the moon in terms of celebrity. Oh, yeah. And they were a fascist party, and they felt that fascism was needed to overcome the communism of FDR. Now, you can argue that all you want. I'm just trying to tell you what I think is going on with the Tucker group. And I think, and this is all theoretical on my part, it's all relatively new thinking, I believe that JD Vance is now getting cold feet. And I believe that he's saying to himself, do I want to get involved in this thing, or do I want to just raise a family and get out of this freaking mess? But these guys are lining up one fascist after another, Eric, in the media, and you could see it coming. And that's why they're talking Hitler all the time. I couldn't figure it out for months. This is where they're going with their Buchananism. This is where they're going with their fascism. This is where they're going with their Jew hatred. And this is where they're going in 2028.
By the way, couple notes to enhance that. First off, America First. Yes, that was Lindbergh.
Yeah.
But now there is another figure who leads America First. It's the only one who literally calls it America First. And he leads some people called Groupers, and his name is Nick Fuentes.
Right.
Now, I want to play this little clip from Nick Fuentes' interview with Tucker some months back. Remember when he went on with Tucker?
Yeah.
And I want you to listen to who they're discussing.
Like, take Joe Kent, for instance. I supported Joe Kent, and I talked to Joe Kent. I got introduced to him by Matt Brainerd. Matt Brainerd went to my conference in 2021. He bought a table.
Was he his campaign manager?
He was.
Okay.
Or he was a consultant, but he was on the campaign. Yeah. And so I met Matt Brainerd. He liked me a lot. He loved my conference in February 21, which he bought a table at for his organization, Look Ahead America. And in 2021, we, and by we, I mean my nonprofit and myself and my team, we wanted to support America First candidates in the midterms. Like you said, authentic opponents.
Me too.
Yeah. And
that's how I found Joe Kent.
Yes. And so I met a lot of the people in that sort of scene, like Ryan Gerdusky, I know is very supportive of Joe Kent, and other people that are more private, I don't want to name, but they put me on, not just to Joe Kent, but Patrick Witt in Georgia, Gibbs in Michigan, a lot of different people.
Everybody take notes.
And Joe Kent was one of them. And I had a phone call with Joe Kent, and I told him, I had my assistant on the phone too, who's Jewish, by the way. Mm-hmm. Just because I want you to know I'm cool like that. You know, I don't judge. But so I'm on the phone with Joe, and I said, look, we support you, and we want to do everything we can to help you. We want to have my followers knock on doors for you. We want to boost your social media. Anything that you need, we want to help you.
We have the significant parts coming up right now in the last 10 seconds.
Okay. And we don't even want to be publicly associated. I said, because we know that might hurt you. I said, the only thing that we ask in return is you can't disavow me if the media asks. And you can say whatever you need to say, but you can't disavow.
Wow.
Does that sound like somebody else? Remember this guy, Double D, David Duke?
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I just thought the timing on this is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean,
the resignation letter, all this.
They're putting their group together. That's what I'm trying to say. They are putting together a Nazi party within the Republican Party. They are boldly speaking out now, promoting Hitler, promoting Joseph Goebbels, denouncing the Jews. I mean, there's no other rational explanation. And they may feel, and there's some justification for this, that fascism has been fighting communism since the inception of communism. That has been the ongoing battle since 1917 all around the world. And it would not be bizarre for it to come back again to fight the entrenched communism that's in the United States, Eric.
I agree. But look at these little alliances and these shifting moves and the Megyn Kellys and all the figures. And
I think a lot is going on behind the scenes for them to get their ducks in a row to pull this off in 2028. And Vance, as was discussed earlier by you and also by the show this morning, I believe may be getting cold feet, that he could come back, like they said, once this dust settles. Look at it from his point of view, Eric. He doesn't know where this is going to play out. If he denounces these people as Hitlerites, if he denounces them as Nazis, if he denounces them like the California Republican Party did yesterday, saying Groupers will not be allowed into the California Republican Party. They altered their constitution this week to prevent, through thorough vetting, any membership in the California Republican Party of any of these Groupers. And this is the largest Republican Party in the country, Eric, as you're well aware. So this was an interesting pushback. There was no coverage on this.
Nick Fuentes has been shown the wilderness before.
It's not about Fuentes.
He'll show up at like I'm not going to say not American Fest, but like other ones. Yeah, and they're like, get the hell out of here, get the hell out of here. It's been going on, but the problem is that he's made these inroads, and you have the Tuckers and whatever. It's very interesting, and the only good thing I can see is like that interview that was nice and friendly. They're not friendly anymore, or at least they're playing it off like they're
playing it off. They're playing it off. This is a group that has decided this is necessary to retake America. And you can intellectually have that argument. Again, I've had it myself with friends, if this is the only way to defeat communism that's entrenched in the United States. It's not that far-fetched. But I think this is where they're going. They've embraced Patrick Buchanan. They've embraced Hitler. Not that Hitler and Buchanan are one and the same. However, there are far-right tenets of Pat Buchanan that it got so bad as to Nixon had to force him out because in his own administration, it was becoming awkward. And that's a story for another day. However, it explains why they keep trying to rewrite World War II and the history of Adolf Hitler. This is where they're going. This is Lincoln Rockwell time. This is the American Nazi Party. And this may not be your grandfather's American Nazi Party. They may have far more skill, far more money, far more media savvy than Lincoln Rockwell could ever dream of.
Well, far more age. This may not be perfectly on point, but I think it is. When I've talked to Jack Barsky before, KGB mole and everything, he was very frank with me on how concerned he was, and he was talking about communism, but this is actually even more so because of time. And as he put it, he's like, I'm in my 70s. He said that, the young people now don't have that firsthand experience of communism. They don't understand communism like I do, or some of the extras and on down.
Absolutely.
Well, can you imagine Nazism? Nazism died technically in 1945. The official version. Yeah. Yes, there's been an undercurrent out there. And
but again,
the more time and distance, the more it's a meme, the more it's funny, the more it's
absolutely.
A joke.
And there's not even a Soviet Union. They're now here in California. I mean, the barbarians have gone inside the gates. It could justify anything internally, domestic politics wise. And I know, and it may work. The crazy thing is, it may be needed, Eric. I'm not even dismissing it. I'm just trying to get my mind around it.
Well, I will dismiss it. I mean, I understand you're using the I'm going to say the El Salvador example in the sense that the guy went in there to take care of the gang problem at whatnot as a dictator. However you look at it, pretty much civil rights went bye-bye.
Yeah.
And he locked down the whole country. And
but was it justified in your mind?
I don't know. And that's
you must have an idea of it. Was it justified or not?
I don't know. I mean, it's a mix. I have mixed feelings on it because like many things, I think there's it depends.
Yeah.
But that's the best analog I can think
the
of.
End justified those means. I mean, it's a workable country now.
It is a workable country, and at the moment, it seems okay. But will he leave power? How many times have we seen that where it's like, oh, the dictator comes in because things are going shitty. Ask, what was the French Revolution?
No. Again, I'm not endorsing the Tucker fascist. I'm just trying to explain it. Yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm far from wrapping my endorsement around it. I'm just trying to explain it to the American people where I think this is going. And it seems clear to me that this is where this is going now, after months and months and months of people scratching their heads, going, what the fuck is Tucker doing and talking about here? This is the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, and again, I still attribute it to his father's death. That I feel like his dad was gravity. And when Richard Carlson dad, passed away, there was no voice to.
Well, his father was no angel. Let me put it that way.
I didn't say he was an angel.
No, I know, but I'm saying, was Joe Kent his internal government source that's now been cut off?
Well, allegedly, yes. Allegedly, he's being investigated. Yes. Allegedly, he, and this is all leaks, and I don't have, firsthand knowledge, but yes, that is the claim, that Joe Kent was under investigation. Joe Kent was not allowed to go to the meetings. Joe Kent got out the door because he was being shown the door. Yeah. And he
got out ahead of it, in other words, according to
and can we point out that, Joe Kent resigned and was on Tucker the next day, and Candace Owens immediately, hello. Remember I showed you that Catholic thing? And it's like, well, look at this. I mean, it is so on point. You know what? I'm going to publish my interview on Locals that I did with Joe Kent. I haven't watched it, and I don't even remember, what and all was said. But if you want to check it out, I did talk to the guy years ago.
Okay, good idea.
Anyway, it's very interesting, and I think more and more and more is going to.
Well, I will predict this. I will predict this. I don't know if anybody else has. Again, a lot of these things I don't know what other people are saying, but I think Tulsi Gabbard's done. She will resign by the end of the month.
Yes. Yes.
You agree with me, right? You agree?
Well, yeah, because she's sadly,
compromised.
She doesn't disagree with a lot, and she kind of got caught because in the meetings, she never once said, I support Trump or Iran wasn't a threat. She always said, Donald Trump has the right. Donald Trump is a determinant. It was such a distancing factor. It was.
I think she'll resign the right way. She's not going to do what this mutt did. She's going to do it with some class and dignity. But she's finished. She's finished.
Yes,
we both agree on that. That's good.
And it's sad, but yes, I think she will do it properly.
Yeah, and that's what you're supposed to do. If you can't live with yourself over this thing, which most rational people believe that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They could close, if they had a nuclear weapon, they could close the Straits of Hormuz on any given Tuesday for any freaking thing around the globe. I mean, the amount of power they would have, forget about the nuclear weapon using it, the amount of political juice they would have in the region to control the flow of oil on the earth would be insurmountable. Everybody gets that, even these Weasley European Union cats.
Saudi gets it.
Even the Saudis, who apparently still don't want to get their hands dirty, but
they don't have to.
I know.
You kind of have to step back and look at the Saudis and go, they don't have to. They've played this shit out so well that they got everybody else going, and they don't have to at this point.
Well, look, I believe that Trump is on track here. It's just it's so difficult in an open society to run any kind of war plans, Eric, with your enemy, because they're going, tell us what you're going to do. What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you doing tonight? Trump's losing the war. And you go, dude, what is it with these people that they can't allow the commander in chief to run a war for a military, not even a war, a military operation for 5 minutes without them having to know every single detail, while the enemy would know every single detail? I don't understand why they don't understand. Yeah. It's just confusing to me that they can't comprehend that they can't possibly, because of the enemy knowing the information, know all of the military moves that Trump is going to make, and how he's been constantly a professional saber rattler, how he can't take boots on the ground off the table. I mean, it just boggles my mind that people can't comprehend the necessity of him having to verbally joust and do these things to achieve his aims in this mini military incursion of a month or two.
Well, I agree. Well, and speaking of like no patience or anything, and those who are going, oh, well, Joe Kent was taking a principled stand when his stand has been all over the place. Number two.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
How many of you quit effective immediately? How many of you do that? And how many of you draft something and immediately put it on Twitter as a grenade on your way out? Because that's what he in essence did. I don't care how you put it, whatever. You may be agreeing with him 100%, but he literally pulled the pin, dropped it, and closed the door as he walked out. That is the issue. That was a deliberate sabotage move. I don't care how you put it.
He has gone in 100% with these Tucker fascists. You got to give him credit, because he is now staking and he's a young man, Eric. He's staking his political future on being part of this coup, this right-wing military-based, military-themed coup of the Tucker people. Aligning with who, I don't know, in the future, but you got to give him credit, because he is one of the only ones to show his hand. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Well, he was strategically placed. I think
maybe he's going to be the candidate. Maybe he's going to be the VP candidate. Maybe he's going to run. You know, they need to find a guy. Think about it. Play it out, Eric. If JD Vance is saying this is too much trouble for me, I'm out, they got to bring someone in as a team to replace JD Vance.
Well, good luck with him, because he lost twice.
So you're talking about Joe Kent.
Correct. Yeah. He's not the strongest candidate in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, some people had issues with him. And again, that was a different time. Whatever. But
what'd you make of the Pete Buttigieg thing by Mark today?
I don't know. I mean,
dude, what was that?
He keeps doing that shit. That Buttigieg is some great. Now, I do agree with his point, you know, like if you're comparing to Kamala, yes, he got further in the election than she did.
But he wasn't comparing him to Newsom. He didn't bother to compare him to Newsom.
No. And
I mean, because Newsom's never run for a national seats. I mean, so he can't have won a primary in Iowa like Pete Buttigieg did. So it was apples and oranges, right?
No, I agree. But he's always been weird about Newsom. Anyway, and then he was, even when he was talking about Vance, he was saying that's the same argument with Newsom. I'm like, I don't think Newsom gives a damn about kids. Vance, I think, does care about the kids. I've seen him, interact with his kids. I do believe that. It's like you sitting there.
I don't
watching
think Newsom
the Olympics.
could pick his own kids out of a lineup.
No, probably not. Well, they might be between sessions. I don't know. If they may take holidays like he does, Mark, and look slightly different every time they come back. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, the Costa Rica excursion. Yeah, he always goes to Costa Rica. Well, he may have gone already. We may have missed it, because he usually goes in January to some mysterious Costa Rican trip for like 3 to 4 weeks. He didn't go this year because he's got the book tour.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though, because and I wanted to play that, you know, that Carrie preaching thing too, because I'm like, they see Rubio as the target. And you can see everybody, you know, shifting around, and then now with the leaks coming out that JD may be backing out, it's like you're going to start.
Well, as you and I talked about last week, I mean, Rubio has, besides the obvious strengths right now, He's also Latino. He also speaks Spanish. His wife is a Miami Dolphins cheerleader, former. I mean, there's so much upside with this guy, especially with the Cuban stuff in the headlines now. I mean, there's just so much upside that nobody else has. He is a formidable opponent. Formidable.
Ironically, I hate to make the comparison, but I think it's fair. How many times did you hear about Hillary Clinton being the most qualified person to ever run for president? Well, Rubio's got that, and
he's got that too. He's got that too. Yeah, he's got it much more.
Senator, head of intelligence, Secretary of State. Oh my God, his resume is so thick; it's just overwhelming.
Well, isn't that really what you need, though, Eric? Forget about Hillary Clinton. I mean, isn't that better than having some guy just come out of left field like Obama with no record on purpose, so you can't criticize him, and then have this spooky freaking background with the Central Intelligence Agency and his family and everything else we covered in that episode with his grandmother running that bank in Honolulu? I mean, that was a coup d'etat. With Hillary, whether she was a Contessa or not, on paper, she had all those things. So you did have a long time to vet her individually. Obama was completely the opposite. No. I didn't say you said that.
She's evil, not dumb.
Right. No. I completely agree with you. But it's a much better way to run for the highest office in the land, as opposed to sneaking in through some back door without a record, and then us finding out afterwards you changed your name, that you were this. You were born in another freaking country. I mean, look at all the crap we had to go through with Barry.
Oh, I agree. You know who he reminds me of a little, or just think about, is James Madison.
Who, Obama or
no, Rubio?
Oh, Rubio.
You know, Secretary of State James Madison. Because part is the stature. Both of them not very tall, but James Madison, father of the Constitution, all kinds of background, Secretary of State. There's a similarity there.
It's also a time in American history where Latin influence has reached a level where I think the time is now. And I've always said that if there was going to, be a woman president, it hopefully would come from the conservative right, like a Margaret Thatcher type. The same is true for my hope from the Latino right. The same situation with Rubio. If it's not him, then someone else like that. I wish I had a mayor like him in LA. I've said that for years.
Yeah.
That what we need here is a conservative Latin man to come in and clean up this shithole of corruption here. And it's shocking to me that there's not one fucking guy in this 10 million person county who's a man who's Latino who's willing to step up against this Marxist little Cuban loving dictating loving woman. It's just shocking to me that the lack of courage is just breathtaking. But again, Rubio seems to be the right man in the right place at the right time, possibly, Eric.
Well, he's grown into it. I mean, it's like, he did run before.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I think he won primaries.
Yes, he did.
South Carolina?
I think he won in South Carolina. I'd have to check it out, but I think he first or second in a couple of them.
Right. And I know Ted Cruz was trying to be the first Latino.
Yes.
But, Rubio was also in the mix. And I think that a little bit of more seasoning. And
the thing
now
about Cruz was that he does have, through his father, CIA baggage. And it's hard for me to fully embrace. I mean, there is that photo of Ted Cruz's dad with Oswald. But there's much more than that random photo.
He was a prick because he kind of grates on people a little bit.
Ted Cruz?
He's got a little bit of an edge.
Oh, no, without a doubt. But the dad, there's a lot of intelligence baggage around the dad. And who knows where that went, going up to Canada and then into Texas and the oil business and everything else and blah, blah, blah. You could say, well, that's his father. But, do you really want to have George Bush Jr., from the senior running the CIA to the junior? I mean, you really want to go through that again out of Texas?
I think Ted Cruz for Supreme Court actually works for me.
Okay.
I know. I'm saying you got to get some justices in there. I think that he wouldn't be the worst, person.
Yeah, that's a separate discussion, obviously. But the Rubio thing is happening right now in real time.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
Well, especially because it's not out loud. Nobody has said this out loud. Rubio's never made one hiccup toward it at all. In any way, he's a total company man. He defers to Trump in every way. Trump, adores him.
Yeah, that's why reason. I think the JD Vance thing is an impossibility for him to run simultaneously while being vice president. I've said this a million times. He has to, really toe the party line. He can't just say, I'm going to go campaign this week against Newsom and start attacking Newsom. I mean, there's just no way to do it in modern political civility.
Yeah. And I hope that you're right. That, maybe JD is getting cold feet and going, okay, I got to distance myself from these people somehow.
Eric, he's only 40. He's only 41 or 42 years.
Oh, I know. He can do it in 8 years. No problem.
Eric, he could do it in 20 years.
Sure. Well, if you're using Biden rule, you could do it in 50 years. No, I'm just, but fair enough. But let's go ahead and we got some people who are throwing us some support, which I deeply, deeply appreciate, including a Rumble rant for $50 from Rooftop. Enjoy a coffee on me, gents. Thanks for the shows. Well, that will actually not only buy a coffee, that would buy me an order of the best coffee on the planet, which is, of course, our own blend. We have 2 of them. I drink it every day, and some of that money will go to buying bags of America's Untold Stories Supreme Breakfast Blend or America's Untold Stories Magic Bullet Blend, which I encourage everybody to check out. It is fantastic coffee. It is rich, full flavored. I know I'm a broken record, but I don't have to have cream with it. I always drink coffee with cream, except for our blends. Don't need it. They're not burnt. That's kind of the key element that I didn't realize. People talk about, they're like, you keep getting burnt coffee. That's why you can't drink it. It's burnt coffee. Well, it turns out that people aren't completely bonkers.
They're right.
It's true. If coffee is burnt, you need something to tone it back. But if it's not burnt, that doesn't mean that it's weak. This is fully roasted. It's very rich. It's very full flavored, but it's not burnt. And that makes it a very big difference. So I am able to drink it black. And that's one way to keep the calories down, get a start on the day, and everything else. I recommend, check it out. I always buy 4 bags at a time. That way I get free shipping, but you can get whichever size you want. Shipping is ridiculous anymore.
It reminds me of the girlfriend I had who was a 2-bagger.
Oof. Go ahead. I know this one.
No, I'm not even going to do it. Go ahead. Sorry. I haven't heard 4. You had to wear a bag over your head in case the bag over her head broke. But Eric's talking about 4 bags of coffee, which is easier on the shipping.
Right. And by the way, while the bags are substantial and you get a good serving, you're not fitting over anybody's head.
Right.
They're a little small for that.
Well, speaking about heads, I don't know if you saw that story outside of Paris where this Muslim girl had to explain to her mother why she cut school. She said that her teacher was an Islamophobic to explain why she cut school. And
Islamophobic?
That her teacher was an Islamophobic and hated Islam, and that's why she left school. Instead, she was really just cutting school. So she came up with a cockamamie story about her teacher.
And of course, the moron parent just believes anything that their kids say. And
so did the Islamicists in Paris because they removed his head with a sword. And now his head is not attached to his body anymore, the teacher, because this girl made up this story about him being Islamic phobic.
Okay. Well, no, I hadn't heard that. And you buried that lead for sure. Holy shit.
Yeah. It was in the Daily Mail. I just wanted to bring it up because they're just like us. You have to understand they're just like us. This Paris teacher now has separated his head from his body simply because a girl made up a story to explain why she cut school.
Whoa.
She's sad now, it says in the article. She's really depressed that her teacher has lost his head.
I'm sure it's nice and rough for her. Good God.
Yeah.
That makes me. And by the way, why does everybody forget about Charlie Hebdo? I mean,
this was the same thing. This was very.
I know. This is actually even worse than that.
Yeah.
Because the guy didn't do anything.
The young white guy, right in this Paris suburb, right outside of Paris.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and Hebdo, anyway, but yeah, it's some of that piece, but all right. Zandenga is a new member. Thank you very much.
And that was a dance in Morocco for many years. The Zandenga, everybody did that.
Okay, I thought.
By the way, did you see Rand Paul versus Mark Wayne Mullen? By the way,
yeah.
What is their beef?
Remember I said somebody had said that Rand Paul deserved the ass kicking he got from his neighbor. Well, it turns out that was Mark Wayne Mullen who said that. I didn't put it together, but that's what they were talking about. And Rand is such a little bitch. She was sitting there sniffling, going, "So you promoted violence on another senator, the pain that my family and I went." I'm like, "Oh my God, you sound like a leftist baby. Would you shut up?"
Wow.
And
almost like he waited years for this moment.
No, yeah. I mean, it's like,
what is wrong with that guy? By the way, Kentucky is one of the red states that refuses to turn over their voting records, along with 20 other blue states, to Harvey Dillon to weed out illegal aliens in their voting records. Kentucky, while he's busy yelling at Mark Wayne Mullen, the great Senator Rand Paul, is not concerned about Kentucky not turning over their voting records, despite a court order.
I think he agrees with it. If I'm going to go by no, because libertarians are open border lovers. And that is a pure libertarian plank. Is wide open borders, everything legal. Driver's licenses are evil, all the way down the line. If the farther you get into purity. So
well, I'm just pointing out to the people who think he's a Republican.
I mean, again, Pamela with $1. Thank you very much, and always supportive. And again, she likes my thumbnail, so she's brilliant.
Well, just to get back to that Pete Buttigieg story, apparently he is only being seen with African Americans, as Mark pointed out. I forgot to add that to the story. He's on like an African American blues tour or something. Because he had 0% approval. Remember, didn't he have a 0% approval rating?
He's gay. It's a problem.
He's gay. He's white. He's short. He's a gay mother. I mean, whatever the reason is, the most fascinating 0% statistic I've ever seen was his approval rating among African Americans in a party that's their base. I don't know if Halpern even concerns himself with this shit.
I don't even know. That's why I pointed it out. That's why he has to be with 100%. Like his staff had better be. I mean, it had better look like the Black Panthers.
But he said he would have a black running mate, and Halpern sniffed. That's not going to be enough. I completely agree. I don't think he has a chance in hell of ever being a nominee for this party.
No,
he'd have a better chance in the Republican Party.
I hope he's the nominee. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I mean, the idea of him beating out Newsom, who hasn't met a Negro he doesn't like, is absurd. It's absurd.
True. Newsom's got that gift. Anyway, let me see. Catherine K has been a member for 33 months. That's been a while there. Wow. Thank you, Catherine. Zandenga. Okay. Can't go back to locals or Rumble, so we'll rejoin here on YouTube.
Okay. Welcome back.
Well,
good to have you.
Happy to have you.
Did you see Corolla responding to Karen Bass about air conditioning on Twitter? There's a heat advisory in LA, and she said, years ago, we just had our windows open here. We didn't have hot weather in LA. And Adam Carolla said, I grew up here, you crazy bitch. It was hot as a pistol when I was a kid. And they couldn't afford air conditioning, the Corollas.
No, he talked about he lived on between like in the porch or in the attic.
Yeah.
And being in the attic is a miserable damn life.
Right.
In Tucson or LA or any of that. I mean, it's especially bad in Arizona.
Well, he called her out about lying about the lack of the need for air conditioning 10 or 15 years ago in LA because of global warming. That's insane. That's insane.
Well, I mean, she just makes this shit up.
Wow.
But he's a net positive. He's always fun to have there because he'll lash. Nick Giusti, they said it took multiple shooters from multiple positions to assassinate JFK. It was actually just Chuck Norris with one bullet while sitting on his front porch.
That's funny.
R.I.P. Chuck Norris.
That's funny.
There you go. There was a meme going around talking about how Chuck Norris was born the day before the World War II ended, which isn't quite accurate, but it was kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Wellesley 72. Good point on the Saudis. Something that is not said is how MI6 is involved in the Middle East with the British.
I've said it. Yeah.
They have the longest involvement in the Middle East. MI6 loves the distraction.
I've said it repeatedly on this show. I repeatedly said it. It is them pointing at Mossad 24/7, aligned with the Saudis. They are what they depict Israel and the Mossad to be is really the Saudis and MI6, in my humble opinion.
Yep, I agree. And in between these super chats, and I'm gonna there's still a lot more to go, but I did have this guy I had to share with you. This is Pete. Let me see. Is he Panhandle Pete or Florida Pete? I can't remember what he goes by, but it's something Pete, and he bears a resemblance to Epstein. And people have been going around saying Epstein is alive.
Oh my God.
Hey everybody, this is Palm Beach Pete, and my video went viral because some dude randomly filmed me while I was driving on I-95.
That's
unbeknownst to me.
hysterical.
And the next thing I know, I'm a viral sensation. I had my phone down for about 4 hours, and I didn't know my phone was blowing up with all these comments from that video. So I got a lot of traction. It's pretty crazy. Thanks.
Dude, I'm going to look him up when I go back to Palm Beach. I'm going to look him up.
Well, he's got a Twitter handle now. It's not.
Oh, good. I'm going to find him when I go back to Palm Beach. I'm going to find this guy. Maybe.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
I'm going to find him for the show. We'll look him up, and then I'll find him in November when I go back.
Well, definitely do. Here is his account. He is at not Jeff Epstein.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
So, and he's Palm Beach Pete, everybody. So,
dude, he'd be great at Halloween if he shows up with a bunch of girls at Halloween. I mean,
yeah, and he does resemble the dude.
Yeah, he does.
Sure.
There's a lot of Jews who look like him, though. I got uncles who look like that.
All right,
that's a look. That's a certain look of a certain type of Jew.
I can just imagine.
By the way, speaking of which, how about the AIPAC tracker turning out to be? The website is run by a Marxist out of Germany. The AIPAC tracker thing run by Marxists in Germany. Shocking, but true.
Are you sure it's a Marxist or it could be a fascist?
She says she's a Marxist. I don't know.
I don't
know.
Okay. All right. Lisa Deed has a great question. How will the Code Pink crew fare in Cuba? They are planning on turning Cubans against Trump. I love that they're going to Cuba. Leave them there.
Leave them there.
Goodbye. I don't think they're going to fare well.
This is like the Cesar Chavez thing. This is I can't believe, and in a good way, I'm alive to finally see the collapse of the Cuban regime, the collapse of Cesar Chavez, the collapse of all of this stuff that's been driving me crazy most of my adult life. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
In one half of a second, one quarter of a second term.
Yeah. It's just astounding how much he's ripped through the entire earth.
Well, as Anthony says, it's Trump's fault.
You got to give it up for this guy, Trump. I mean, he has done some amazing work at lightning speed.
Oh, well, I guess it's Ort Cloud is saying, no, it's Carney's fault.
Mark Carney from Canada.
Yeah. Well, we got Ort is Canada, $2. So yeah, he does
tell you something. Once the dust settles, he's going to have to deal with this douchebag to the north. because you can't have a Marxist regime across your entire northern border. I'm sorry. I know people go, well, they seem like nice people, Mark. You just can't live like this. As the world superpower, it's a little embarrassing to have a Marxist regime right on your northern border.
That's true. That's true.
Right? I mean, you have one tucked away somewhere in the middle of nowhere. It's okay, almost tolerable, but wow.
All right. Yeah. Cindy 1M on a Rumble rant. Can't believe it. We got a $20 Rumble rant here. We got a $50 one earlier. So Rumble suddenly,
whoa, they're back.
Coming through. They're buying more coffee. Asking, so great to catch you live. So much fun. Joe Kent is a bigger rhino than John Cornyn. What say you guys?
Well, he's not a rhino. That's for sure. Rhino is not the right word, honey.
Well, it can be because he was a Democrat. He changed his party. So if you go with a Republican and
you
name
could say
only,
he's a Dino, then also a Democrat in name only.
I would just say he's probably, okay, he fought. I respect his war service, but we're past that now, and he appears to be a snake at this point. So,
well, snake, we'll go with snake. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just go.
Speaking of snakes and fish and things of that nature, just a little shout out to this this event at the end of the month in Whitefish, Montana. It was a population of 9,000. Whitefish, Montana is having the what's known as the Security Summit. And this is a summit very quietly, very privately. I'm just calling it out because I have stumbled onto this. This is where intelligence, former CIA people meet with Hollywood people. And this is called the Security Summit. And it's in Whitefish, Montana at the end of the month. I just want people to be aware of this because I've talked about this as long as I've been on this channel. And this is, excuse me?
We need to do a field trip.
Yeah, I would love to be there. But there are people that I know, not personally, there's people whose names that I know on the Hollywood side who are going there. And the names on the intelligence side are public knowledge also. So this is an actual event where they meet up and discuss Hollywood and CIA shenanigans, bro.
Lovely. Well, you know what? I'm going to jump out of order here because Beavis Wallace came in with a mic drop, $100.
Go Beavis.
Which, thank you, by the way, because things are...
Grandson of Governor Wallace here to repeat history. Yeah.
Son of Governor Wallace here to repeat history. I draw a line in the sand. My America will not have communism or fascism.
Okay, well, that's a good line to draw, but I'm just trying to say this may be where we're heading into a new battlefield. Communists shooting at the Nazis in North Carolina. I mean, who do you root for?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it happened in the 80s, folks. So this may be that on a bigger scale.
Yeah, in that battle, yes, I root for everybody. Get them. Who are you talking to? Yes, all of them.
I think it was North Carolina. I could be wrong. I
think it was North Carolina.
I think it was North Carolina in the 80s.
But Beavis, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
Major.
By the way, Jon Stewart, the pontificator, said that California may be going red, and he's freaking out, Eric.
Well, but it's good. It is hilarious.
Wow, he's melting down over the possibility the two leading candidates are both Republicans.
Well, it is perfect because they signed up, this perfect stovepipe.
Yeah.
California is not like a typical, like there's a Republican primary, there's a Democratic primary. This is an open primary.
It's wide open. So anyone with any party affiliation can vote for any of the candidates. Who go head to head in November.
So there are like two or three.
Come on, it would be so perfect. Against the top two are Republicans right now.
The greatest day of my life. That'll be the greatest day of my life.
And like 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, 20.
At least.
Democrats. It's a great plan, and it so smacks of the Democratic Party to split the vote into such fractious fiefdoms that the only two people standing are the two Republicans. So smart. So typical. Have the Democratic candidates discussed this with each other?
Right now, undecided is beating everybody. Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Undecided is beating everyone.
Still in first place, which is part of why I jumped in, because.
All right.
Well, I mean, this is their jungle primary that they created to keep Republicans out. Now it's coming back to bite them in the ass with Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton as the two top, I think it's 15 to 16 or 16 to 70% of the vote right now are the two top candidates. Whoever the top two are have a runoff against each other in November when everybody on the earth is below 50, which is what this is, because there are like 12 candidates.
Yeah, no.
I mean, is it
I
possible?
hope it holds up. I hope
if that holds up, it's
it'll be the best day ever.
Katie barred the door, be the greatest day in American history.
Oh yeah,
and they're petrified now. So what they're talking about to get to the bottom of this is they want these candidates to drop out, and they have egos. You know, whether it's the former Mayor Villagrosa or Tom Steyer, they've put a lot of money and work into this. Or Katie, the dog-faced woman Porter, they're not dropping out just because Jon Stewart wants to consolidate the election and save California as a blue state. They're fighting to the death.
Well, especially Katie. I want to be the one that goes and tells Katie to drop out. She's a little bit.
That's why.
Dangerous.
That's why I thought this was a shoo-in for Kamala Harris, because none of this would be happening. She could have bigfooted all 13 candidates, dominated the earth, and walked into the mansion in Sacramento. It's shocking to me still that she didn't pick up the paper and sign it to run for governor. None of this was planned, because I think everybody thought, like myself, that she was simply, through a lack of job, was going to take this job. And then if she wanted to run for something else, she could have.
Right. Or she could just sit there and show up at the office and sleep all day, you know, or whatever. Have wine and wine and
Let
weed.
me tell you something. Nobody wants to move to Sacramento. I mean, Schwarzenegger kicked and screamed about having to live in Sacramento. They wouldn't let him smoke cigars, so he erected a circus tent outside the mansion and did business, including meeting school children outside in this circus tent so he could smoke his Cuban cigars. That's wonderful. Come on over here, children. Come here. Wow. Meet the Terminator governor. Come here.
Well, and by the way, he did tribute to Chuck Norris today.
Oh, very nice. Okay, cool.
Because they did a lot of work together back in the day. Let me see. Zandinga again. Rhino Deep State no longer able to hide behind the collapsing Dim Party. They are having to make a big play.
We talking about Tucker or California?
Yeah, because that's not really deep state. It's a weird little.
Yeah, it's not deep state at all. They want to be the deep state someday.
God help us if they are. I mean, that's let me see. Philip Coggins. Using fascism to fight the communists is dumb because the only difference between Stalin and Hitler is who they thought the Jews were.
Well, that's not true. There's a lot more to it. That's a generic statement. Thank you for the donation, but there is quite a bit of difference. Why do you think they call everyone who's their enemies fascists? Because they are their enemies. It's not about the Jews. The only thing that stopped the commies were fascists, and vice versa during that whole period of time in Western Europe. They are not exactly the same. They may be exactly the same to you, but not to regular mainstream Democrat people.
Right, but the overall theme I agree with. They're both evil.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course they're both evil.
It's like we just were talking about, communists, Nazis and communists.
But they're not the same. Again, they're obviously different economic policies.
Yeah, it's like choosing cyanide or a bullet.
Again, these are just generic things about being evil. But once you get into the weeds, there's this conservative right-wing view that I read all the time that they're exactly the same, and it's bullshit. It's historically bullshit. Check out Victor Davis Hanson. He can explain the difference between the commies and the fascists.
Yeah, well, it's again though. It's yes, they are different.
Yeah,
I mean, just the basic thing of communism, the state owns the means of production. With fascism, the state colludes with the means of production. There are different, but the end result is a bad situation. Either way you go.
All right.
K-Dog. Eric would make a great NFL commissioner without the competence about the game. Common sense diplomacy and firm yet not intimidating. You know he means business. Mark is more unforgiving.
That's for sure.
Pretty word.
I'm definitely unforgiving.
Yeah, the problem is so unforgiving that Eric could be going, what did you do?
I can't take it anymore.
What did you do now?
You know, like the guy who found the 89 hospices in one building in Van Nuys, California yesterday for CBS Local News, which Nick Shirley had actually found the day before. But the fact that they went in to these 89 hospices in one 3-story tiny little strip mall office building, and it was the center of millions and millions of dollars of Medicare fraud this week, and there's nobody there. It's just a couple of offices that have listed 89 different hospices in this one office building, gathering federal money and federal tax money into this Van Nuys office, which I found to be great. Also, that the Acelia, the assistant prosecutor here in LA, arrested, I think, about 12 or 13 Armenian fraudsters yesterday, and they were living in multi-million-dollar homes. Here, the fraudsters are really entrenched in the Armenian mafia. People don't realize that, and I didn't know it till I moved out here, just how strong the Armenian mafia is. And they don't look like Abe Fagoda. This is entrenched in Glendale and through the San Fernando Valley. They are into wire fraud, bank fraud, identity fraud, and they were taken down by the FBI yesterday, about 13 of them, some of the big ones, and they are into some massive amounts of fraud. And what they do is,
especially real estate.
I was just going to say, they'll get one of their people inside of a real estate agency or working in a bank, or they would rather do private fraud than government fraud because they can control the whole ball of wax. They will take a deed to your house, forge it, sell your house to an unsuspecting couple, and then the couple is left with a forged deed to a house that they just bought. This is
the title insurance target.
Yeah. They do that a lot, and they have chop shops. They do, stuff with cars and things of that nature, but that's mostly the kids. The adults are into wire fraud and stuff of that nature, and identity fraud and things, and they took down a bunch of them yesterday here.
All right. Martha Weeby, have you been watching Barnes, and what do you think of him? I haven't watched Barnes for a while. Mark does stuff with his partner Viva.
Yeah, Viva and I we just did a show on Fight Club yesterday, which we had a good time doing an analysis of Fight Club.
He actually liked that one, right?
Yeah, he said it's the greatest movie ever made. He went
it's a good
on
movie,
and on.
But not great.
Well, he didn't understand until he was done what the movie was about. And now he's watching the greatest movie he's ever seen today, right now, to understand what I explained to him in the show, that the entire movie is about capitalism versus communism. And then the author himself came from Ukraine. And the guy who wrote the book, Fight Club, was a guy who was having, Chuck Palahniuk. He was a Ukrainian who came, he was a first generation American. Family came from Ukraine. And the entire book and the movie is about the Brad Pitt character is him as the communist, and the Ed Norton character is him as the materialistic consumer capitalist. And I thought Viva's head was going to explode in the course of the show yesterday.
Wow.
Well, and about 2 hours into the movie, Brad Pitt famously says, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. And all of a sudden he had an epiphany, Viva.
There it is.
Yeah.
Philip Coggins. The Saudis also have a call on Pakistani nukes, seeing that they paid for them.
That I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't know what a call is, and I don't know why they would have to pay for them.
Right, and I think that if they paid for them, they probably have it themselves. They're not that generous, benefactor. Like, here, I'll buy you a nuke.
Here's some nukes. Pakistanis can figure things out for themselves. They have a lot of scientists, and
Nick Giusti. I'm one of the people who loved Tucker, but now scratching my head like, WTF is going on? Like, is this how he is, or is this for attention?
Well, I just explained it, Nick. Maybe this was earlier before my explanation.
No,
what I feel, you know.
Yeah, well, it's 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
Charlie Flo, Mark Groubert, Adamus. Given California's open primary system where the top two face off later, and given polls that the top two are Republicans right now, any chances California gets it? Well, we were just talking about that. We're
just talking about.
That,
I don't believe it's going to happen. Yeah, it's just too overwhelmingly a Democratic state, and
it'll be too perfect.
Yeah, if one of them is not in there, then the Democrats will overwhelmingly vote for the yellow dog within the state. So one of them can't defeat another Democrat, in my humble opinion. It would take two of them to actually win the state, which I think is probably impossible.
Right, unless somehow all 20 kept fighting to the death, and they kind of slid on through. But I don't see they're going to.
Could happen. I mean, I'm hoping.
Oh, I hope it does. I hope so.
I don't think it could. It will though, but it could.
All right, Nick Giusti. Rand Paul is definitely not Ron Paul. That apple fell pretty far away from the tree and
I don't know
kept
about
on
that.
rolling.
I don't know about that. Maybe there are similarities between the two.
Well, the libertarianism is a similarity. Yeah. Ron Paul's a noted libertarian. JS. I lived in Kentucky. They have big manufacturing plants. They use illegal labor.
Well, that video I sent you of the woman explaining how they signed them up for lifetime Social Security through the long-term disability phase of Social Security, I think was breathtaking, because that's corruption on video, where she's being interviewed talking about the illegal aliens under the Biden plan to be given Social Security long-term disability, which is, as many people as they age know, is the hardest type of Social Security to get. The long-term lifetime disability Social Security, which you could get at the age of 20, it's brutal. You have to get a lawyer to, at least when I was growing up, you have to get a lawyer to get disability on Social Security in early age. And you have to go through an entire level, a battery of tests. And they were using this to get these illegal aliens money for the rest of their lives. This by itself may be one of the great videos, great parts of the scam, the Biden scam, than anything else. The open borders could be debated. You know, you could put America on trial. You could do a lot of stuff, but the disability insurance part of it is gold. It's really freaking gold, Eric.
Yeah, and robbing Americans directly.
Yeah.
Think about it, because that's the competition. Stacy Michaels gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships.
I love
Thank
this
you
broad.
so much, Stacy.
I love this nutty broad.
Nutty broad.
Yeah, I love this girl.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacy. And you've been on the kick giving lately.
By the way, California is decided to give 7.5 million acres of land back to the Indians. This includes coastal waterways. This includes all kinds of land all around the state. Obviously, I think there's corruption involved, and I believe that the powerful Indian casino lobbyists who are tied into Bonta, who is the attorney general. I mean, there's so much corruption with the Indians and their gambling. They had Bonta go around the state and shut down all the Chinese gambling casinos around the state because they were competition. And they said to Bonta, why are you picking on these Chinese gambling clubs? And he goes, well, they're illegal. And he was doing it at the behest of the Indians. And now they announced yesterday that they're about to sign legislation to give various indigenous tribes 7.5 million acres of California gold land back to them.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the feds have to come in on this one, Eric.
Well, if it's Indian, that's Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Yeah,
and it's a
that's
federal.
what I mean.
Yeah. I agree. Pirate Ken, spring is here, lads. Just thinking about you two and wanted to send a pirate greeting and a big hello to crewmate Al Gonzalez. Smooth sailing. Well, thank you.
Way to go, Ken. Way to go.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to head over to this piratical conversation or whatever you want to call it on Locals. And you guys know where you can go, right? Unstructured.
Whoa, is that a slur? Whoa. You know where they could go. What are you trying to say? Oh, you mean go over to Locals. I'm sorry.
Leslie would always say that too. She's like, I can always tell you where to go.
Right. That's some people use that phrase.
Yeah.
They tell you stories when we go to Locals that we did not discuss here. I've got some interesting stories for people over at Locals, including the dancing robot, including the phony high school degrees out of California to Chinese students, including the P-22 mountain lion worshiping bridge for the mountain lions in California. And there's a new one on this, I think. There's a new angle to this story.
All right, well, we're going to head over to Locals.
Yeah,
and
I'm going to go to the bathroom while you're doing that and get some more fluids and sandwiches.
And a big cup.